what's going on, and welcome to a special edition of this TV show I like to call I've been getting a little too into food lately and I'm putting on a little bit of weight, so instead of eating I'm going to take some Zopiclone and watch The Matrix and just see what the fuck happens. Now, we got multiple questions here. Of course, number one, how's the timing is going to work out? Well, I'm planning to dose as I press play, as I start the movie. The movie's all set up and everything. It is not a very high quality stream or anything, but it is what it is. Now, Zopiclone causes metal mouth, like metallic taste in your mouth. So I'm thinking, I don't have any chewing gum or anything, so maybe I should get a lemon. Good idea. And this is the problem with The Matrix. You get to about this part, which is, let's find out. Where are we? What's happened?
The Matrix is a system, Neo.
Oh wait, this is the bit in The Matrix that's fucked, right? This could have been a perfect isekai, essentially. But what you do is the first bit, you change nothing. But then when he first comes out of the Matrix, you have to focus a little more focus on his recovery, make it take maybe a few days or something, rather than the way it seems like maybe a week at most. His recovery, make sure you focus on that. Make sure that the characters all have interesting dynamics, because all the characters are so bland right now, because they need to have time to connect with each other. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn it into like Cowboy Bebop is essentially what you want to turn it into. Just these wacky personalities in their little ship hanging out. Imagine if Cowboy Bebop was like had less action in it and more like the best bits of Cowboy Bebop are the best. The bits that don't have action, the storytelling bits, right? So if this show just did that, just halfway through became a slice of life about these people living in this like place outside of humanity, and rather than their goal of like a grand goal of saving all of humanity by defeating the big bad guy or something, what if they just went around like slowly freeing more people, but it was really difficult for them, so it's like they're slowly trying to grow their group, but it really ain't easy to do that. I don't know, and that's like their main goal is just that, is just freeing a couple more people, like lower the stakes a lot. Like the stakes are way too high with the Matrix. Like you need to focus on the interesting shit, which is not the shit that isn't interesting. The elites most likely have controlled characters. If we go back to the NPC meme, or the things don't live in a video game, we live in a video game, we live real life as a simulation type thing, then really the people who are actually playing it are the hyper rich. Anyone who's like not hyper rich is not just bad players. Like, and that's just when you exist as a person, right? That's just when you exist as a person. But those higher ups, those are the people who are making the mistakes, making making it fall apart, because they're controlled by a controller. All I wanted was a Pepsi, and she wouldn't give it to me. Just a Pepsi. She wouldn't give it to me. Well, Matrix, good film, The Matrix. There's just not much to say, you know? It should have been a very different thing. The Matrix should have been way... Like, I've seen the Matrix sequels, this is what I'm thinking about, right? So this film is good, but the problem is it takes the stakes way too high. The entire world or everything. Or like it gives it has the typical problem where the main character is ridiculously strong. And that is never well, unless you want to make a power it's really nice if you get to watch a character go from weak to strong. This is the entire reason why shonen works. Shonen manga anime as a genre, Hunter x Hunter. The characters start off weak, and they train and train and train and train, and they get better, and they can win their shit, right? That is a good story, and that's basically what this story is. Except then, you have this super overpowered character, and now he's a fucking isekai protagonist where he's super OP, and all of the enemies can't do anything to him. And so now it's all about him being the one, or it could have been about his journey to learn all these skills, right? It's not that fun watching him around being the one. Really, what has to happen is he has to never master his one skills or have them. So, you know what I'm saying is it needs to be like Avatar's Legend of Aang, right? Where there's this very powerful guy, but he hasn't unlocked all of his skills yet, and it takes a long time to unlock those skills. So most of the time it's just becomes short form stories of uh, you know, what I'm saying is this needs to be the next movie should have then just been fucking around in their little ship talking to each other. It should have costed $5 to make. It should have just been all of the crew in the ship, basically like the first 3 episodes of Lucky Star or first 4 episodes of Lucky Star, just talking about shit. Now, obviously, that's insane, but what it really should have been is more like a Cowboy Bebop situation, where there's a heavy slice of life element as well as the action, because it's a slice of life of a character who is an action character. And we don't get any of that here. It's all Hollywood bullshit. And that's probably why people don't like the second film so much. They went in a completely different angle. However, I am now going to watch the second and third films, and I can bet you I'm gonna like them. I might not. I might think they're super dumb, but I bet I can find something. I bet I can find some physiological reason to like the first and second films. So maybe that will happen. I don't know. Maybe, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna be fine.